everyone. Welcome to Lives Worth Telling. I'm your host, Jodes, and my podcast is about digging deep into people's stories and providing them with a platform to share their life and their experiences with my listeners. One of the key reasons in creating this podcast is so their families and friends can have a record of their life, their stories, and their voice forever. One of my favourite things is hearing about people's stories, their triumphs, their hardships, but most of all, I love hearing about their resilience. I really hope you enjoy listening to my guests share their lives with you. I want you to have a few laughs and allow yourself to be immersed in their stories. Well, welcome to episode 5 of season 2 of Lives Worth Telling. Thank you to all my listeners for the amazing feedback on all the podcast episodes so far. Oh, in today's episode, actually our first crossover episode with the host from Gday from the USA podcast and TikTok star Lady Amanda. She joined us today to share her stories of triumph when she was blindsided by a particular event in her life. She is a very dear friend of mine, and I hope you enjoy listening to her zest for life, her ability to bounce back no matter what life throws at her. Enjoy. Oh, today, I am going to be speaking to a person. Now, this is a little bit of a crossover episode. This person I've known since I was 5 years old. She doesn't live in Australia. She lives in America and still does now. I'm going to say hello to you, Amanda, or shall we call you Lady Amanda?
I think Lady Amanda would be much more appropriate. And g'day.
Lady Amanda. G'day. And I must say, some of you probably already know Amanda. Of course you would. She has a podcast in the US called Gday from the USA. So this is a crossover episode.
It is. I'm so excited. A little
welcome
scared,
to you.
but mostly excited. Thank you.
I know a lot about you, but I don't know everything. So first off is tell me about your family, parents, siblings, and over to you, Amanda.
Okay, so as you know, Mama Linda.
Mama Linda. Shout out to Mama Linda.
Shout out to Mama Linda because she has been on, so she's already given her little version of events. But
she has.
Long story short, my dad was killed in a car accident when I was 2. My brother 2 days old. So pretty much been just raised by Mum.
The best.
Which she's amazing. Like everyone that knows her loves her, you know. So yes, she's just made sure we never missed out. She was always there for us. She's our rock. She still is, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
So that was pretty much, our childhood was just single parent.
Do you have any memories of your dad?
Zero.
Nothing.
Zero. But shall I tell a little story?
Oh.
I don't remember this, obviously.
Okay.
I'm 2 years old.
Yes.
So Mum's in hospital. She's giving birth to my brother Adrian, and I'm staying with my nana and my auntie Diana, who I think was 15. Okay. So anyway, I know. So this is going to go down a really bad path.
She was 15.
She was only 15.
Wow.
Yeah, we're not that big a difference. So,
yes.
Okay. So while my mum's in the hospital, my dad goes up to buy a car in, I think it was like Sydney or something. It was in somewhere in New South Wales. Anyway, he's driving back in a car accident and killed. So my mum's in hospital. I'm staying at my nana's, and the police come to the door and basically tell my nana, like, this has happened. Okay.
Oh.
So anyway, they come into the bedroom where I am, and I'm talking to someone, and they're like, who are you talking to? And I said, Daddy, he came to say goodbye. And they were just
Amanda.
like, OMG.
Oh.
Right?
Wow.
I know.
That's so bizarre. Oh,
so
Amanda.
bizarre.
But you don't remember anything about what he looked like or anything? No memories?
Nothing. Just photos. Yeah. No, nothing at all.
What's your earliest memory, I guess, of the early days of you growing up with your brother? At that time.
Gosh, that is a really good
People's
question.
reactions to things like.
Yeah, I don't know.
What did
I
you
just
say
remember
when you were
always. I always remember having to be good. Like I was the angel, like golden girl, because my brother was so bad. And I could see like the stuff that my mum would have to go through, that I was just always the good one. You know what I mean?
The angel.
Yeah, the angel. Yes.
So how did you, I mean, I don't really remember much at the time either from way back when, but when people would ask, you know, you have a mum, was there any dialogue around what happened to your dad? Like what was a line for you? I don't remember myself.
I don't really feel like I talked about it much. Like it just, you know what I mean? It's just, I mean, it's probably the same these days. It just is what it is. Yeah. And I just remember being in like year 9 or 10, or maybe it was like year 10, or it could have even been year 11. I don't remember. And it was like the father-daughter camp at Shelford. And I remember Jennifer said, are you going? And I said, no, I don't have a dad. And then she's like, ha, 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 yeah, right. And I was like, yeah. Like, you know what I mean?
I reckon it was year 9 or something.
So that's how, like, probably little I ever mentioned it. You know what I mean? Yeah. It just wasn't a thing.
Wasn't a talking point.
Wasn't a talking point, no. I just didn't even think about it, really.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess it wasn't like he died when I was like 10 and it was made an impact. It was like just growing up with like a one-parent family. That was all I knew.
Yeah, same.
Yes.
And where were you born?
Melbourne, the Mercy Hospital, I think it was. Yes.
City. Oh, I love this question.
Oh, boy.
School, Amanda. Describe what school was like for you, and did you like school?
Okay, so I was really intelligent in primary school, apparently.
Now, this is my line as well. I feel the same.
No, I remember being so smart, like top of in maths, everything, you know. Yeah. Then I went to high school and I started off at the local high school there. God, so I had to like think of the like Australian word for it now. God, what is going
already.
on?
What? College.
So when I went to college, so I went to the local, what was it called? Wheelers Hill High.
Yes.
And okay, so I did still think I was pretty smart at this point, and I probably was compared to everyone in the high school. Yes. Like it was like they were just like climbing in and out windows and crazy. And I was like there to work. I was like, you know, quite the good student.
Yeah.
So then Mum got me into Shelford.
Yes.
And I did really love it there, and I actually didn't want to leave school. Like I mean, I struggled in and out, but I think once I found my little niche, I think I really enjoyed it. And by the time it was time to go, I was like, I could go another year or two. Yeah.
And we did.
And we did. Boom, boom. Yeah.
Yeah, boom. That's really interesting. When that big jump from primary school to high school and a completely different school where, I mean, majority of kids would have gone to Willis Hill and Brentwood at the time. So maybe.
And then, as I know other people have said, like I think it was maybe Mandy, shout out.
Yeah. Shout out to
Shelford was so academic. There was, I mean, there was home ec, which was probably the most, what would you call it? Like elective
like
almost subject.
Practical.
Right. Everything else. Like when I was at the high school, the college, it was, you know, like we had metalwork, we had woodworking, and I really excelled in those subjects because I do feel I'm quite good with my hands like that. So to go to a school that was like chemistry, physics, like, and I have an all or nothing mentality. Always have, always will. It's just part of me. So I remember, for example, I think it was year 9 or 10, and we did art, and I got an A for art, and then I got an F for the exam, for the theory. Oh. And the teacher said, like, what happened? You're like really good at this. And I said, I didn't really care about it. So I didn't, like, it doesn't interest me, all the like Picassos and that. I don't care.
The
So that
timelines
is
of the Renaissance.
right. So that's literally my all or nothing personality. Like if I'm interested in it, I will be an expert at it. But if
Yeah.
I'm not, it's like
Yeah.
I don't care. Like why waste
No.
my brain with these like things? Like not interested. Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Not a great quality.
school. Yeah, we were thinking about I can't remember what it was, Manda. I don't know why it came up, but we were talking about grade 6. You know, you and I were in grade 6 together in the same class. And I don't remember if you remember what happened with the teacher next door, was Mr. Guest next door.
I always remember him yelling and throwing things.
Scariest man ever.
Can you imagine that would never fly these days?
No.
He'd probably be arrested or something.
That's exactly right. But there was a scenario where I was knocking on the wall and I thought someone was knocking back. Do you remember this? I thought someone was knocking back, and all they heard in the next classroom was lots of knocking, and they were having a test. And I'm sure you were sitting with me, but I'm saying they're knocking back. And it's someone in our classroom at the other end knocking back, laughing that we think that someone's knocking back. And next minute, Mr. Guest just stormed into the room. Mrs. Winbanks, we're having a test.
Oh, my God.
Who's knocking on our wall?
Winbanks.
Who was next to the wall? Jody, and I think it was, who was the other person that was knocking? I can't remember, but I just died inside. Wow. But we were talking about that. That was it, yes. So primary school and high school.
Do you remember grade 4? Mr. Guest. And
Mac?
I'd forgotten. Was it? No, not Mr. Guest, Mr. Mac. Yeah, Mr. McLean. So I'd forgotten my guitar, and the guitar teacher said, if you forget your guitar, you can't do lessons anymore, right? So anyway, I get to school and I realize I forgot the guitar, and I'm like, oh, my God. So I run home. And Mum's gone. She's at work. And so I'm like, I can't go back to school because I don't have my guitar and I want to keep doing guitar lessons. So I sit out the back and literally waited until Mum got home, and she was so furious that I wagged that she dragged me by the ear up to the school in front of the class and made me tell Mr. Mac why I wasn't at school.
Oh, I don't remember this.
Oh, yeah. And I literally had to say that I wagged because I forgot my guitar and I was too scared. And so anyway, I'm pretty sure probably the music teacher got in trouble for threatening me that I literally was so, distraught by it. Yeah,
so wrong.
Still can't play the guitar, so it's all good.
Well, no wonder.
No wonder I was like a little PTSD from that. Yeah.
Oh, my goodness. So how did you celebrate Christmas as a child back in the day? What did it look like for you guys?
So I'm pretty sure we don't have a huge family, but my mum has a sister, Diana, as you know. So we pretty much hung out with them, and I think it was alternating between their house and ours every year. Okay. Yeah, I just remember it being, it's so different now because it's always cold, but I just remember it always being so hot and Barbies and, Warren, of course, is the most amazing chef and will, cook the turkey and the chicken and the everything, So I just remember it being a lot of great food.
Yeah.
A lot of laughs, a lot of presents, just, so good memories.
So good.
Yeah.
What are some of your memorable trips or outings as a family?
So I remember we would always go down to Phillip Island and we'd stay in a caravan park with, I don't know who else with, but I do remember that was quite a common thing. We'd often go to Mildura as well. And funny story that Mum and I had this debate, and this is going back many a moon ago, and she said we never took our car to Mildura. We always went on the train. And I said, I remember us at Mildura standing in front of the car. I remember this. And she's like, never happened. You're crazy. Anyway, I knew it, that there was a photo. So I went through every single photo she owns and I found that photo. I was like, it's here. The proof of us in Mildura standing in front of the car. Sure, 100%.
Did you ever catch
100%.
the train to Mildura, or was this just a one-off?
We did, but I have a feeling we maybe took the car on the train once or something. I don't know why we went by train, but it was fun.
Did you know anyone there?
Yes, I think Diana and Warren had like a little timeshare, and so we'd like stay up there.
Timeshare.
Yeah, and then I remember going to like Sydney once. I remember going up to the Gold Coast. I feel like we did a lot of like little trips. We'd do a lot of day trips, you know, like up to the mountains, you know, Sherbrooke Forest, and then down to the like, you know, the beach and all that. So yeah, I feel like we always were doing something.
I do remember, I don't know if you remember, is we went to a house in Blairgowrie.
Blairgowrie, I remember this.
Yes. Who was it with though?
Okay. It was with the widows group. Remember how Mum ran that widows group?
Was
and
it really?
It was all the people.
Ladies and kids.
Yeah. Yes, exactly.
Yeah, I remember that, but I don't remember who they were or
I remember one of them was Chris Priest and her kids. Like Ian. I can't remember.
Okay.
But yes, I do remember that as well. Yeah.
Yeah.
Good memory, Jodes.
Yeah, that was pretty cool. I just remember there's lots of mums and kids, but I can't even remember. I don't know. Obviously, you guys were there, but yeah, that was fun. That was good. All right, moving on to family life as an adult. Oh, Amanda. Have you or are you married?
Oh God, no.
Next question.
No, I was for 10 years, and yes, shock of all shocks, out of the blue, getting ready to go. Literally the following morning to we were going to Arizona to meet up with my uncles David and Will, who were coming from Australia. And I think they were already in LA. They just arrived in LA that day, and they were flying out the next morning, and we were flying out. We were literally going to arrive 2 minutes apart. Anyway, yes, that night, out of the blue, she just said, yeah, I'm done. I want a divorce. And I laughed. I was like, what?
Sorry,
I was like, is this a joke?
We're going away tomorrow.
Yeah, is this a joke? And she goes, yeah, I don't. Well, I think it started with, I don't want to go tomorrow. And I'm like, what are you talking about? Like David and Will are like, can't wait to see you, whatever. And then she said, yeah, I'm done. I want a divorce. And I was blindsided in every which way. And I just couldn't even really comprehend it. And then I said, did you meet someone? And she said, actually. And the whole thing was said in the cruelest tone ever. It wasn't even like a glimpse or an ounce of like niceness or kindness. It was just, actually I did 3 weeks ago. And I was like, 3 weeks versus 12 years. And that was it. Done and dusted. So, yeah, at that point, my entire world just like seemed to implode. And I still had to get on the plane the next morning at 6:30 a.m. And, you know, this was like maybe 9 or 10 at night. And, I had to be on that plane the next morning because I couldn't not go. But shout out to Julie, my friend, because she lived we lived in the middle of nowhere, so in the country, as you know, because you visited.
Yes.
And
beautiful.
she's was 6 minutes away. So she's like our closest neighbor type thing. So I'd driven over there and I just walked in and she's like, what happened? Like, what's wrong? Like I just look like a ghost. And then I told her and she goes, no, I don't believe you. That she would never do that. And I said,
no,
yeah. She did. And then I said, and I've got to be on a plane the next morning. And she picked up the phone. She calls her work and she said, I won't be in Friday or Monday. And then she literally came to the airport with me in the morning, handed her credit card over and said, book me a seat next to her. And I was like, oh, my God, it's so expensive. And she goes, that's what credit cards are for, emergencies like this. Like straight away was just like, what do you need? Like, what can I do? Done. So that was really sweet.
Shout out to Julie. What
Shout
a
out
savior.
to Jules. Like, yeah, amazing. Like the true friend.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
and then you headed off.
It was crazy.
And
headed off and
with that trip.
Yes, I remember getting off the plane and David and Will had just arrived, like literally 30 seconds ago, and called me and they're like, where are you? And then I was there and then like, where's Kyla? And I said, I told them and they're like, no one would believe me. No matter how many times I said it.
Of course they wouldn't
everyone
have
was like,
known.
no, bullshit.
Because they
Like,
would have
she
been on a
never
plane.
do that to you. Right, exactly. And I wasn't going to call them that night. You know what I mean?
Yes.
So it was just, it was just a crazy, crazy situation and very like difficult to even get your head around, you know?
Yeah. And how, like, when did you first, I guess, settle in to the States? So when you moved over there, what year was that when you moved over?
That was
officially?
2013.
Okay.
Yes, 2013. So, I'd been there 10 years. God, what's now? Yeah, 2023. 10 years. Yes, and I think I'd been married 9 years, something at that point. But by the time we got divorced, which was July the 8th this year, it was 10 years.
Okay.
So, yeah, it was just one of those things that you don't see coming. And, I mean, I'm always of the belief, no matter how bad something is, I'm always like, there's always a bright side or everything happens for a reason. And I have definitely, like, trusted in the universe, I guess. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know what's out there, but I definitely trust that the universe has my back. And I've really learnt this past year to roll with it and just believe that everything's happening for a reason and for the best for me. So,
because I think you had settled, in Vancouver, Washington, and it wasn't just a house; it was a lifestyle that you had there with the animals and the property and unraveling all that and starting afresh in a country that you weren't born in.
It was very,
to pick yourself up and start again.
Right. It was very shocking. And I remember I just got my citizenship. It was like 3 weeks earlier. I just got my citizenship. So in one hand, I was like, thank God I'm a citizen. Not that I think anything could have happened to me because, I mean, I still had a green card, but it gave me some reassurance. But I do remember her saying like a few days later after we got back from Arizona, so I was there for like 4 days, I came back, had to come back to the house with the David and Will, so awkward as anything. So we're in this house and then she said to me, oh, I guess you're going to go back to Australia now. And I was like, nope, I'll be living my American dream here. Like, she literally thought that and told everyone at work this, that I was just going to go back to Australia and she'd have the house and everything and her life would not change in the slightest, just exchange me for someone else and her life would go on as normal. Unfortunately for her, I was the little wrench in the works, spanner in the works, and I would not leave the home, would not leave the house until I had a check in my hand. Nice try. Will not leave until I get that check in my hand, which was exactly what I did. So as hellish as it was to wait, was it like 9 months or something I was stuck in that house? Like it was, from July till I think I left May the 4th. So I wouldn't do it, and even I didn't get a lawyer. I was, what's that show with Julia Roberts? And she was a lawyer.
Erin Brockovich.
Erin Brockovich. She wasn't a lawyer, but Erin Brockovich. So, everyone was calling me Erin Brockovich because, like I say, if I'm interested in something, I will be whatever. So I was like a lawyer at this point in time. I'm like researching it. And so I didn't get a lawyer because I just thought, I don't want to pay $30,000 to someone.
No.
I'm going to do it as best as I can until I need to get a lawyer. And it wasn't until I had a settlement agreement in my hand after negotiating with that for months. Like, I'm not even kidding. I was thorn in everyone's side. And even her lawyer was like,
get one?
Oh, she got a lawyer.
One.
And her lawyer was so bad. I mean, good for me. But it was just like a circus clown. You know what I mean? Like, by the end, I was just, like, let me go submit some little thing at the courts now, Like, they're telling me I need a lawyer. I'm like, okay, well, maybe you can pay for the lawyer. Let me go submit something for that. Like, I was just becoming the little Erin Brockovich and
sweet.
The thorn in everyone's side. But as I said, I was not leaving until I got my check. And once I got my check, I was like, okay.
And then you had this brainwave of like a little trip and thought,
So,
this is what I'm going to do.
So Mum had said to me, I remember like early days, like maybe a day or two after this happened, she said to me, like, what are you going to do? And I said, I have no idea. Like, I don't know what to do. And then she said, well, is there anywhere that you've always wanted to live? And I said, maybe Georgia. Yeah, I've always like pictured myself in some cute little town, like fried green tomato town. You know what I mean? Like something like that.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, like I don't have to stay here. You
No.
know what I mean? Like I'm only in this state because of, like I'm married and this is where I live. But I really can go, I'm not a tree. I can go wherever I want now. So
For sure.
the hardest part was leaving the animals, because it still breaks my heart to this day, the animals, especially, I know this is going to sound pathetic, but my little squirrel Jefferson, I think of him every day because I'd raised him from a baby and
he's one of the kids.
It was literally my baby. Like, I'm not even kidding. He slept with me. He got me through. And this sounds ridiculous, but I found him very soon after this happened. It was like meant to be because it just like gave me something to focus on. It gave me someone to care for, and I just, he slept in the bed with me. Like, I'm not even kidding, like cuddled up like a little kitten every single night. Like, you know what I mean? And in the morning I'd have to wake him like, buddy, we've got to get up. And he's like, let me sleep longer. So I had two options. When I knew that I was actually having to leave the house, I basically had 2 weeks. I'd written it into the agreement that I had 2 weeks after receiving the money so I could, get my things out. And I was like, I either take him with me, but, I don't know where I'm going. I don't know where I'm going to end up.
No.
Or release him, which, I've already released Benita, my little Bonnie, and she's thriving out there. She's had babies. She comes back every day for her nuts. So the best thing I can do for him is to release him.
Yes.
So I do, and it breaks my heart. And, like I said, Benita came back every day. 2 years, I'd see her, I'd give her a nuts, give her a little hug, give her a cuddle. And, same with Jefferson. I'd let him go and then he'd come back and every day. And so I was like, having to drive away and never see my little babies again, like the dogs, the horses, all the cats. Like, I really wanted to take other cats, but I could only take America because I literally just didn't know where I was going or what I was going to do. So, yeah, it was hard. I wanted to take Foxy, but she was blind. And I'm like, she knows this house. She's comfortable. It would be very cruel to take her somewhere where I have no idea where I'm even going myself. So, yeah. So, anyway, I ended up on the other side of the country in Alabama. And I got here. Long story short, Kyla actually worked with a friend called Ashley, like her best friend at work. And once all this went down, Kyla lost all her friends. You know what I mean? Like everyone, not to say they pick sides, but they pick sides. Everyone was just like, you're a piece of shit. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so Julie was like her friend at work, so I sort of like, I got all the friends in the divorce, which was really good. So
yeah,
she had, she was from Alabama and moved to Washington and was there for 6 years working at the same hospital. So I got to know her and, we'd hang out or whatever. She has a son who's now 10. And anyway, so she moved back home to Alabama and she bought a house and she said, you're always welcome. If you're coming on a road trip, like come stay as long as you want or whatever. And I said, I will. So anyway, I did a road trip and I mean, it took me a few months. I went to California, I went to Texas, I went to Arizona. I literally hit all the states and I had the most amazing time. It was very freeing. After being stuck in that house for so long, it was really nice to just
and
be able to do whatever I want.
Yes,
I bought a little, what do you call it? It's like a little teardrop camper.
Yeah.
And it's a Tab. It's basically the brand of it is called a TAB. And so, little Tabitha. And it has a kitchen. It had a bed. It had like a little seating area. Like it was enough. And I'd never towed before. So I had to go get a tow bar put on my car. And Julie's husband was so lovely. He put it on, like installed it. He even hooked up this thing that went from my battery under the car. Like he literally had to thread it through all the car to get to the tow hitch so it would charge the battery of Tabitha as I drove. Yeah. Cool. So he really like went the extra mile and did all this work.
Aww.
And then it was learning to tow this thing. And I had a few like dicey situations where I sort of went down some one-way street and was just like, I cannot back up now. And, you know what I mean? I did some crazy things and I'm, you know what I mean, like constantly my hands out the window, sorry, sorry.
I'm Australian.
Right. And then I got to the point where I had to learn to back and, it was the most insane thing. And
oh, my gosh.
Anyway, I didn't kill anyone.
So good.
And, you know, the long story short of why I needed Tabitha was because I had America. So all this was for a cat because I was heading down south in summer and it was going to be like over 40 degrees every day. Oh. So I'm like, I can't do anything with a cat. Like I can't take her in my backpack. I can't, you know, and the cat that I've got is the worst road trip companion ever. She is neurotic. She doesn't like other animals. You drop a pin, she hits the roof. You know what I mean? Like if I was to clap now, she would literally have a panic attack. Like, yeah, she's just worst road trip companion ever. But I was not leaving her. Like she's my baby. Like I had her from like a few weeks old. She was found wandering up a country road and you know what I mean?
How old is
like,
she now?
She's just turned 10. So, September.
Goodness.
So, yeah, like I've pretty much had her most of my time here in the States. So, I was not leaving her. And so I had this idea because I was like, what happens when I get to like San Antonio, Texas, and I want to go on the river walk? I can't. So I was looking at backpacks. Yeah, I was looking at little backpacks where I was like, this is going to traumatize her. So, anyway, I thought, what if I got like a little camper van? And then I could just like leave her in that and then go for my little walks or explore and then come back and drive along. So anyway, it worked perfectly.
Perfect.
And I was able to stop and start. I had no destination, but I managed to hit like I had a friend in California. So I stayed with her for a week. Had a friend in Arizona, stayed with her for a week. I stayed
friends all over.
For a week in Oklahoma with a friend. And then I got to Alabama after all that. And I didn't think I would live in Alabama.
Okay.
The next state over is Georgia. So where currently am, I'm 20 minutes to Georgia and 20 minutes to Florida. So it's that little corner.
Nice.
So it's
no snow.
It's a great location. So anyway, I was sort of then got the check in my pocket. So I was like, you know what? I need to start looking for a house. So I'd sort of like look around Georgia. And anyway, long story short, I just found a place that was just being built. It was basically just being framed. And it's in Alabama, but it's about like 25 minutes from where I currently am. In the country, I've got a cotton field in the backyard.
Oh, my gosh.
And I just saw it and I just fell in love with the area. It's got like the little town nearby is like 8 minutes door to door to a beautiful little square. Picture the perfect little square in the movie.
Yeah.
And I just thought, you know what, this is home. So,
oh my gosh, I'm hanging for you to get a little southern accent there.
I know, right?
Southern style.
Yes. I can't do it. There's many things I can't do. One of them is I can't do an American accent, and the other is I can't do chiropractic adjustments, and I think the third is I can't cut hair. I was cutting someone's hair and they wanted like an undercut and I was cutting it and then they wanted a few lines in it. So I did the lines and then afterwards I said, can you cut it like overall down a little bit? And I did a whole like right up the middle and then I realized I didn't have the guard on and it was literally to the skin. So anyway, I'm banned from cutting hair, doing chiropractic adjustments and I can't do an accent.
Can't do accents?
No.
Oh my goodness. So I was going to say, do you have children? You do, but they're not in human.
No, I've got my fur babies.
Animals and fur babies.
Like I said, I'm down to one. So we basically had like 4 horses, 2 dogs, 4 cats. One was blind, one was 3-legged, had the special needs cats because
Yes.
basically I would not let America outside because I'm pretty sure she would have a panic attack and die.
Oh, my God.
So everyone knew that we wouldn't let the animals outside. So, the cat. So, the blind cat couldn't go outside. So we like fostered her and then adopted her and then the 3-legged cat, So
That was
yeah, like I
Sydney?
said, that was Sydney. Well done.
Sydney.
Yeah.
Yes.
So yes, now I just have America. I'm hoping, fingers crossed, that some little squirrel drops out of the nest and into my hand or something.
Knocks on your door.
Knocks on my door. I don't know what it is. I'm like the squirrel whisperer. I just, yeah, they're my babies.
My goodness, Amanda.
But yeah, I don't see myself getting any more animals. Like I said, I'd take 50 squirrels, but in terms of a dog, a cat, I wouldn't do it to America with a cat. I feel like she's at that age now that she's just like, no, do not let anyone piss me off. I'm
that's
like,
right.
Just, it's me.
It's just her.
And I'm excited for her to have like a house that she can explore and be hers. We've got a beautiful back porch that I'm going to get like sort of enclosed so she can like lay out there in the sun and that.
Yeah. Oh, she'll love it.
And then dogs is a tie.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
What about warmer weather? Are you looking forward to warmer weather?
I am. Like it's now, I mean, it is
you're heading
winter.
into
Yeah, it's winter, but it's still very like mild compared to Washington.
Nice.
Like I'm pretty sure we'd have had snow by now. So I've very much enjoyed, because I'm a water baby. So I measured my summers by how many pool days I had. And in Washington, it wasn't a lot,
No.
And even when it was like 100 degrees, which is like, I think 38, the pool would still be cold because it hadn't had enough days of sunshine to warm it up. I think Washington has one of the most amount of like grey or like rainy days.
Really?
It's, I mean, when it's summer, it's beautiful, but yeah. So, yes, I'm enjoying the warmer weather for sure.
I bet that's what I was going to ask next is where do you live now and why? We already know the answer to that one. My next section is relationships. What do you admire most about the other person?
I think it was the cheating. I think that was the highlight for me. The ironic thing was, if someone had said, well, many people said, like, what qualities do you admire? And I remember my answers were always the same: loyalty and kind heart.
Yes.
And then I was like, damn. Damn, that was missed the mark. Yeah. But you know what? As I said, everything happens for a reason, and I'm so happy. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like I feel like I found my little niche or place, a slot in life, and I really enjoy it. And the people in the South are very, very friendly. It's a different way of life, but I don't know. It's just I found like a place where I belong, and you know what I mean? Like everything worked out how it was meant to. Absolutely.
I love that you take every single opportunity, no matter where you are, no matter what state you're in.
I do.
You speak to so many people, not only through your podcast, but in everything you do, Manda. Like you are such a friendly, warm person that everyone just wants to chat to you. You know what? Her loss, I've always remained that it's been her loss. Good luck, whatever. Yeah.
I agree. And the fact that I like got the friends that were like her best friends that, you know what I mean?
Yes.
Like, and the fact that I'm literally living right now with her best friend, like says so much, So
right.
I
That's
think,
right. And you haven't come back to visit us at all in Australia. Anyway, not to worry.
I know.
Anyway.
It's probably happening next year. About November is the goal.
Excellent.
So,
okay.
Yeah, schedule me in for a part 2 in
lock
person.
It in. Just writing that down now.
Lock it in.
Well, let's move on to work and profession. What was your first job?
What was my first job? Okay, so I had a lot of jobs. I was eager to work. I would do anything to make a buck. So I started off at the fish and chip shop. Well, no, actually, I started off with a paper route. Was my first one.
Oh,
I think I was delivering the Waverley Gazette once a week on my bike, little BMX Bandit, and then I got a job at the fish and chip shop for $3 an hour, and that was under the table because, for one, I wasn't even. What did you have to be? 15 to work.
Now? Yeah, 14 years, 9 months, something.
13 and 9 months. Whatever it was, I was not old enough, but I was making my $3 an hour. Then I did a paper route. I remember doing that when I was like in year 7. Like I'd leave school and then get on my bike and ride to the news agency. And then I was Billabong Ben at what was that hotel called? The Billabong.
Oh, the Billabong, yes.
The Billabong.
On the corner of High Street Road and Springvale Road. Yes.
Yeah, and I remember it's quite funny when I think about it now. I was making $15 an hour. So I'm like, 18? And I'm making $15 an hour. And the wages here in the South are like $7 or something. Like I see signs now advertising like $10 at like, your local Maccas and all that. And, I'm like, you're a kid, I'm making more than these people are making. Like, there's no wonder that people have like 2 full-time jobs here. It's crazy.
I did notice.
It's actually
that when we were over there. It's quite different. It's quite different.
It's even
so you
so
earn
different.
more as
it's different from Washington. Minimum wage there is $16.28. Okay. So a waitress is making $16.28 plus tips, and everyone in Washington is very generous. So you're probably getting at least 20%. Mm-hmm. Everything costs more, so your average meal might be $20-$30, and you're giving like $6 to the waitress on top of what they're earning.
Yeah, that's a fair
down
bit,
here. The waitresses make $2.15, and the meals are cheaper. Like a meal might be like $6.99, and lucky to get $1. So it's really
oh my goodness.
And the government actually taxes waitresses on a percentage of their sales. So if the person is not tipping 15-20%, they're still having to pay tax on that. So they can be losing money. It's actually really sad. Long story short, I've become a very generous tipper down south. I mean, I tipped the standard 15-20 in Washington, but I definitely have been way more generous here.
So it differs from state to
heartbreaking.
state.
Yes, massively. Yeah.
Gosh. I do remember, I think, now I'm trying to remember what episode it was, who was interviewing, you were talking with, and she said to you, when you were talking about all the entitlements you have when you're employed in Australia, we have long service leave and our sick leave and our annual leave and all of these things. She was like, why did you leave Australia?
I think it was Tiffany. And we were talking about pregnancy. And she was.
I could not believe it. Like,
why
you get
did
more
you leave?
Holidays the longer you're somewhere.
Yeah, and how you get the
the leave.
What's that pregnancy leave order? What's that called?
Oh yeah, like when you have paid maternity leave. Yeah,
maternity leave. Yeah,
14 weeks.
And she's literally back like 3 days after she's like given birth. Like she's back at work and insane. Yeah,
I just thought that was so funny that when you don't realize how different it is in another country. And so she was
like
listening to all these entitlements that people get and the leave loading on your annual leave. So when you go on holidays, you get more money because you're going on holidays. Like you have a loading on that as well. Not just
doesn't
your
even
normal
make
pay.
sense.
I know.
I've actually been going through this the past few days. I've had to because I've moved from Washington, so I had health insurance in Washington. So I now had to get health insurance in Alabama. It's costing me $800 a month, and so I can get a tax credit, but if I end up earning too much, then I'll have to pay like it's such a fine balancing line. So I've managed to get it down to about $200 a month, but that's for basic stuff. And I'm only really doing it because if I get hit by a bus, I don't want to lose my house.
You don't go.
You know what I mean? Well, like touch wood, don't go to the doctors. Like this year, I think I've been once. You know what I mean?
Yeah, okay.
Like, and that was online, like a video chat because my housemate's son had strep throat, and then I started getting sore throat and I said, I think I need antibiotics. And it was like a 3-minute thing, and you know what I mean? But I've paid a whole year of this, but it's like your house insurance. If you don't have it and your house burns down, you'll never forgive yourself. So,
Oh, wow.
yes. But, yeah, things like that I do miss about Australia.
So the other question I have around, what is your professional job? So when you finished high school, what did you do after that?
Yes.
Did
what
you
I
study
do?
afterwards?
No, I was working in a pharmacy.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, at a hospital,
Yes.
which was really interesting. I learned a lot. So when I got to America, I was working still for Australia.
Okay.
So I finally decided to get a grown-up job, like get a job in America. My first job, I felt like a kid again. It was so bizarre. I felt like I was 18 again. Like I had to get my license here. So, I had to go get the license, and then I had the crappy car. When you're 18, you get the crappy car. So I bought the crappy $1,500
Starting out.
Hyundai 2001 Elantra that, everything went wrong. Like when I bought it, I was like, this is great. And then I get to the drive-thru and I can't put the window down, and I'm like, this is awkward. And then, I'm driving along, the clutch goes out, and it was literally felt like I was 18 again. Like I had my life together. I had the great convertible car in Australia, and, I was like making good money. And then, I'm back to being 18. So anyway, I got my job, and I was working as a district manager at a newspaper, which was sort of like fascinating. I really enjoyed it. The problem was I worked nights, and so I never slept, I just was constantly sleep deprived. Anyway, I ended up working my way up, and I was the home delivery manager. And then, as I said, everything happens for a reason. So my life is going to shit, and all this is happening, but I still have my job. And I'm like, okay, so I want to leave, but I've still got this job. You know what I mean? So in my head, I'm like
Yes.
thinking, yes, I'll go to the south, but I'm like, I have health insurance. I have like job security, all these things that are keeping me here. And then I get called into the office and they say, we've decided to send everything to mail, which means we don't have a home delivery department, which means they don't need a home delivery manager anymore. But because they appreciated my work, they said, but we've got a job in transportation for you. And I was like, doing what? Driving a truck. And I was like, yeah, no. So anyway, I said, I'll give it a go. And I did. And once I saw the truck, I said, where do I have to get my license for that? And they said, you don't need it. And I said, what do you mean? It's like a Big Mac truck. I said, there's no way I can even get into that, let alone drive it. And apparently it goes by weight here. So let's just say it's like 30,000 kilo weight or whatever. This was literally 29,999. And I was like, that is like skirting the line. So anyway, I would ride with another girl that would drive it. And then after a while, I was like, this is not for me. So anyway, everything wrapped in a beautiful little bow. You know what I mean? Like my job wrapped up. My life wrapped up, that I was like, okay, it's time to go.
See you later,
So
Vancouver,
anyway,
Washington.
I did have a check in my pocket, so had a little bit of freedom. I sort of like locked some down for a house, and I kept the rest to, just be able to have some space and some time, and just to figure out where I wanted to live.
Yeah,
because there's no point getting a job and locking myself down to another place until I figure out where I'm actually going to live. So once I did that, I started to look around, and actually applied for a job at the post office, because the only job that actually paid decent here, like I said, everything else was like $10. I even was seeing professional jobs like welders and like literally electricians and stuff for like $18. And I'm like, this is so ridiculous yes. Whereas it probably would have paid 3-4 times that in Washington,
for sure.
So it was a bit of a reality check. And I mean, the great thing is I won't have a mortgage. So I was like, this is
perfect.
Like, I don't need to earn a ton of money.
Yeah.
But I also enjoy my vacations and my little road trips, and
of course.
Like I'll have still bills and, things like that. So I didn't want to earn $10 an hour. So the post office paid really well, and it's a federal job, which means you get really great benefits. and they actually give you like a pension when you retire. So it's like a sought after job, these post office.
Yeah.
Anyway, long story short, I had to do an exam and I got 99%, which sort of surprised me because it was not like you could study for it. Like you just had to log in and you had like an hour or whatever to do this exam, and it took the whole time. You couldn't go back. It was you had to make judgment calls. So it would be like, what is the best answer and the worst answer? So it would be like you're working away and your boss, like your direct supervisor, comes up and says, I need you to do this, but if you don't do it, then you're not going to get your work done that day. What do you do? Do what your boss says. Tell your boss that you can't do it. You know what I mean? There's all these things. So I was just like, every question I put myself in the situation said, honestly, what would I do? So I'd be like, I'd tell the boss that I can't do it right now, but maybe we can brainstorm like a way to do it because I'm not going to get my own work done. You know what I mean? So anyway, whatever I did, I answered obviously the correct way. So I got offered the job, and my next step was to go meet with the postmaster.
Okay.
So anyway, I went in and I'm sitting there, and first of all, the awkward moment happens because this other girl that works there comes in and she's got her phone in her hand and she walks up to me and she goes, is this you? And I look at it and it's my TikTok. And I was like, oh, no. And I'm like,
my sister.
Yeah, I'm like, oh, yeah. And then she's like, oh, yeah, one of the girls at the back said she recognized you. And I was like, okay. Awkward. And so then anyway.
Happens all the time.
Happens all the time. And so the postmaster is chatting to me and blah, blah, blah. And she's like, yeah, we're so desperate for workers, blah, blah, blah. And then I said to her, if you were me, what would you do? And she goes, please don't ask me that. And I said, no, I believe you'll tell me the truth. Because I was umming and ahhing about it. Like she's saying it's like you're working 60, 70 hours a week. And, my life, I love a good road trip. I like to go visit friends and do things and go to the coast and, go to Atlanta, like I just got back from there. Like I love to do things. And I build it and they will come. I have built the house and I'm waiting for everyone to come. So Mum has just booked the flight for January 22 to Feb 26, I think it is. Feb 24th, around that. So I don't want to be locked into a job where I'm working 70 hours a week. Yeah. And this was the main reason why I stayed working nights in Washington, because whenever someone would come visit, even if I had to work, I'd get to spend the day with them.
Yeah,
I mean, I didn't sleep, but I'd at least make the most of my time. So I was like, God, I don't know about this, So anyway, I was like sort of like being honest in the interview. Well, I'd got the job. I was just the meeting with the postmaster. And anyway, I said to her, what would you do if you were me? And she said, she goes, I did do this job, but there weren't enough years left for me to make it a career position, because basically someone has to die or leave, but no one wants to leave because they want that retirement,
Yeah, that's right.
So anyway, I said, I don't have enough years left in myself either. And she said, run. She said, if you can do something different, like, she was real. And then she goes, I hate to say this because I don't want to lose you, but you did ask me for the truth. And I said, thank you so much. So I left and I said, yeah, it's not the right fit for me. And I think that weekend I'd actually gone, I'd just been to Arkansas, and then I got back and it was my friend's birthday in Atlanta. I think it was like October 4th. And I thought, you know what? I haven't seen her since I've been here. It's only like 3 hours away. Let me go like surprise her for the weekend,
Cool.
So I called her up and she was actually going to be staying at her dad's, and her sister was coming from Tennessee and they were going to have like a whole family thing. So anyway, I went along and stayed at the dad's as well. And her sister and her brother-in-law are process servers, which if you see the movies, like you've been served, you know what I mean? So someone's like got a court summons or, like they're being sued. You have to deliver the papers. And I was like, this sounds right up my alley. So I was like, how do you get into this? And basically you have to do a course to become a process server in every state but Alabama. Alabama.
okay.
You don't need to have
Okay.
the qualification. I mean, I started with a company, but there's a ton of training. They do background checks. You have to sign a million things that you will not carry a firearm. Like
Oh.
it was a whole thing. But anyway, I finally got certified and I got my first gig. And I
Goodness.
remember rocking up to the person's house, and my first one was a bit of a shock because it was the middle of the city. So it was very run down. It was a very, like I'll say, a low income area, and the windows were boarded up. And I actually thought, oh, I think it's vacant. And I remember my friend's sister had said, never assume a house is vacant. And so I went with that thing. So I knock on the door, and of course, this isn't an area that people open their doors. Yeah, behind the door. Who is it? And I said, Amanda. Amanda who? Just Amanda, Lady Amanda. Like, I don't know what. And anyway, then I see this guy sort of come behind from, like, obviously the back of the house towards the front. Like, he made eye contact with me. And then I said, I'm here for whatever. He had like 20 names. I'm not even kidding. I couldn't even pronounce it. So I'm like, I'm here for blah, blah. And she goes, why? And I said, I have some legal documents for him. And what are they? I said, I'm not sure. It's like confidential. I'm just the delivery person. You know what I mean? So anyway,
Don't shoot the
finally
messenger.
she's like, he's not here. And so like, meanwhile, I've like seen this guy on the side. I'm like, I think he is. But I was like,
okay.
when would be a good time for me to come back? And then she's like, hang on. So then he opens the door and I said, yeah, g'day, mate. Like, I try to like really like ham it up and be like, I've no idea what this is. I'm just the delivery girl. Like, don't shoot the. I think I said, don't shoot the messenger.
Don't shoot the messenger.
Like, you know what I mean?
Literally.
Like, I feel like that
America.
is that's my saying. Like, whenever someone's like getting a little bit antsy, and I've done over 100 now. Like, I've actually really excelled at it, and I've become that person that has done so well. Like I said, if I like something, I'll give it my all. Like I got a batch of 30. I started with another company as well.
Okay.
And that was even more rigorous to get into. But once I got there, she said, we're going to give you your first batch. And I think it was like 31. And I'm guessing it normally takes people an average maybe 3 weeks to like serve a person, because you have to go back 5 times. So if you go once and they're not there, then you have to go different times of the day. It has to be like a weekend visit at before 8:30, after 6 p.m. in the day. Like, there's a whole thing. So I'd pretty much done it all like within a week. I think I started last Saturday and I pretty much had maybe 9 left by the end of the weekend. You know what I mean? I just hit it hard and it was very successful. And so then she called me and she's like, do you want to go to this place that's 2 hours away? And I said, I'm happy to go there, but if I have to, I've got some stragglers that I have to go like 4 hours driving to, try and attempt again. I'm like, yeah. And so she's like, yeah, let me see if we can do anything to help you out with that. So long story short, I'm really enjoying it. It's so bizarre. I've had a couple of crazy things. One, a guy was not home. So one day I went, wasn't home, but he had a Ring camera. So I sort of like was, obviously he saw me. Then I went back the next day and it was 8 o'clock at night. And normally I hit the most I would go up to would be about 7:30 because it's dark here at 4:30, 5 o'clock it's pitch black. So it's already a little bit sketchy. And if you don't know the areas and it's in the middle of the country, it's a little bit scary. So anyway, I rock up at this house and it's like 8 o'clock on the, like bang on 8 o'clock. And the guy answers the ring. And he's like, what are you doing here at 8 o'clock? And I said, I've got some legal documents for you. What are they? And I said, I don't know. Like, I just delivering them, the messenger type thing. Anyway, he was getting really, like not aggressive, but really like, why are you here at 8 o'clock at night? Like, you know what I mean? Like, worked up. And so anyway, I said, tell me when to come back and I'll come, tell me when and I'll be back. And he goes, stay right there. And I was like, okay. So anyway, I walked up the driveway and I was standing at the top of my car. I waited maybe 10 minutes and I had that gut feeling and I was like, this is the moment when you're in a trunk of someone's car, boot of someone's car, and you're like, I should have trusted my gut because I knew something was off, right? So I'm standing there at my car and I'm like, I really should go. Like, and then I'm like, but what if he comes and I just get it done? And, because you're basically going to get paid once you've delivered it. It's per job.
Okay.
So I'm sitting there and then I see headlights coming towards me and I'm like, this could be my moment of death. Anyway, car comes right up to me and guy gets out the car and I'm like, sorry, mate. Like, I just had to give you these. And then I see it's a cop and I'm like, oh. I said, expecting you to be the guy. He told me to wait here. And he goes, yeah, he called the police. And he's like, what are you doing? And I said, well, I'm delivering this. And he looks at it and he goes, oh, it's a summons. He goes, you're a process server. And I said, yeah. And he goes, well, yeah, you have every right to be here. So he says, come with me. We walk down, get to the ring camera. And he's like, she's allowed to be here. She's trying to serve you, like, So anyway, he says, I'll be there in 3 minutes. So I'm dying of frostbite at this point. Like 8 o'clock at night, I've got just no jacket on and nothing. And the cop's like seeing me shivering. He's like, go sit in your car and I'll wait with you, because I said, yeah, I don't feel good about this.
Oh, shivers.
And so anyway, he rocks up. Cop gets out his car. I get out and then the guy says to me, like, how do I know it's for me? And so I said, it's got your name on it, and so I show it to him and he goes, yeah, I don't know if I want to get it. And I said, well, you don't have to, but you know what I mean? Up to you type thing. Because if I don't do it, the sheriff will then come. You know what I mean? It's not like it's not going to get done. It's like someone's going to track him down.
It's not optional.
He's actually going to pay for this. Like, let's just say he owes $10,000 on a credit card. They're adding these fees. They're adding my fee. They're adding, the sheriff's fee. And every time the sheriff visit, they'll charge him. So I'm the cheap option, So anyway, the cop says, just drop it at his feet. Like, he's now getting pissed off with him. And I said, I'm actually not allowed to drop it. Like, there's no drop service. You actually have to hand it to someone.
To the person.
And so anyway, finally he takes it. And I'm like, oh, dear God. So, yeah, that was crazy.
Was it hard?
Right. And then another time I'd gone in the day at like 2 o'clock. No one was home. So I left a little card thing. It's basically, it said, like, if you want to get your paperwork online, like log on or whatever. And I was just on my way home and I thought, let me swing by and see. And so it was like 6:30. Okay. So anyway, I knock on the door and the girl answers. She goes, we know why you're here. And I said, yeah, I know. Like, I came today at 2. You've got a ring camera. I'm sure you saw me. Like, yes. And I left the calling card thing that told you exactly where I'm from. Like, okay. And so anyway, she says, he's in the shower. And I said, okay, I'll wait. So anyway, she had a cat. And so we're like chatting about the cat and, And so anyway, we've built a great rapport and, I was like telling her about the little kitten that I found and yada, yada. And long story short, the guy gets out and he goes, you think it's cool to come here at 6:30 at night and knock on people's doors? And I'm like, well, I did come at 2, but you weren't home. And then she's like, it's not her fault. You know what I mean? Like, so she was really cool about it then. But that's about the worst. Yeah.
Do you have to watch them open it?
No, it's not even opened. It's literally just papers and
just handed to them.
I hand it to them. It's like the top sheet has like my name and address and that. So I keep that one, but it has all their details. So I know, like, I'll have their phone numbers, what cars they have, any information that they have about this person. So if they don't answer, or then, I'm knocking on the door, I'll try ringing them as well. And, because
my gosh,
I'll make good money if I get them straight away. But if I have to go back 5 times, it suddenly becomes less and less, like $7 a visit. And, it could be like a bit of a drive or something. So, yeah, something different.
That's just bizarre. That's just so bizarre. And well, what are you proudest of in your career or your jobs?
My career. I'm proud that I'll give anything a go. I feel like I'll be able to fit in anywhere and I'll always find something. I feel like I've always had the belief that I'll always land on my feet.
Yeah.
So, someone else could be like, oh, my God, I don't have a job or, I don't have a house or whatever. I'm like, it'll all work out. So I guess I'm proud that I just have that belief in myself that I can figure it out or do it or.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
What did you want to be when you grew up? Like as a kid,
You do know this, surely.
God.
Paging Dr. Shenton. Yeah, doctor.
Doctor.
Yeah, always wanted to be a doctor.
That is true.
Literally from probably the time I was 5, I had I remember having my desk set up in my bedroom so people could sit opposite me. I'd have cards of all, and it'd be like someone will have scraped their knee and I'll be like patching it with a Band-Aid and filling out the card about the date that I did it and what like treatments I used. And yes, I think it was very shocking for everyone when I didn't become a doctor because my entire life.
Too high.
Yeah, it was the
high.
moment of year 11 when chemistry was not my friend. Chemistry and physics that I had to rethink my whole life. And I always regret it. It's always like I knew that was my calling. But I regret that I didn't do it, but I don't regret. Like I feel like I've had the best experiences and my life has gone whatever way it's gone. So in that regard, I don't regret it, but I do always wish I had have followed through.
Oh, doctor.
Yeah.
Get people to call you doctor. Let's chat now about your passions and interests. Can you tell me about your favourite music or bands?
So I'm not a huge, believe it or not, a huge music buff. Like, if someone said, what are your favourite bands, I probably would say Rihanna, but only because that's probably the answer I've said freaking forever. But I probably wouldn't know much of her new music if she even has any out. I probably would say I'm like top 40, like whatever's on the radio I'll listen to, but I would rather listen to a podcast. Like I don't have music on. Yes. I'm not the type of person that sits at home with the TV going or music going. I don't, you know what I mean? Like, sometimes you go into a house and the TV's just constantly on or the radio's on. Like, I go to my friend's house and the radio's on 24/7. Yeah, not me. Like I said, if I'm driving in the car, I'll just be listening to podcasts. But yeah, not huge music,
And describe your first concert experience.
I was waiting for that question. That was when I listened to your podcasts, which are amazing, by the way. I do. Well, every time I hear that question, you tend to think of what you would say.
Absolutely.
And I always can never remember. I'm like, what was my first concert? I don't remember. I remember going to Starlight Express.
Yes.
I went to Madonna, but this wasn't my first one. I had a great experience in London. I was working as a nanny and the kids that I nannied went to this exclusive school and Annie Lennox went there and Jonathan Ross. I don't know if you know him.
Oh, yes.
Anyway, another one of my kids that I looked after, God, I'm having a mental blank of their names. Okay, whatever her name was, her best friend at school was the mother was a director, and she made that movie Going on 30. I don't know if you remember that, and it had Jennifer Garner.
Oh yeah, Suddenly 30. It's called different things.
Yes,
I think it's called something different overseas.
You're right, exactly right.
Yes.
Anyway, so she did that movie. And so she had the in with all the concerts or whatever. So I remember going to Whitney Houston and do you remember that group All Saints?
Yes.
Okay, so I can't one-up Mandy with her little Tom Cruise story.
Yes.
But
it was a ripper. That just snuck
seriously,
out.
I didn't know that. That was and Nicole
amazing.
Kidman like having a little chat. Mandy, you one-upped us all on that.
Yeah, she took the cake with that.
Okay, but I do have half a little story myself. So I went to this All Saints concert. So we had front row in the VIP box, right?
Oh, wow.
So behind me, the row behind us were the Spice Girls. So
Stop it.
No. So
Shut up.
and I loved the Spice Girls.
Yes.
Right. So I'm at this concert with I'd taken the two kids. So there's like the three of us, very front row. They're having to sit behind us. And there's all these other celebrities. And then we went to the little after party after the concert. And so we're just like, I'm like standing there like with Mel C and I think it was like Emma and there was Scary Spice. I don't think Victoria Beckham was there or Jerry.
Yes.
But yeah, so we're at this party and then I'm meeting all the people of All Saints. And then I think we'd got given one of those programs or whatever you call them. You know,
Oh,
those
yeah.
things you give out? Yeah.
Yeah, back in the
That you can
day.
buy. And yeah, I got all their autographs and I'm standing there like with the Spice Girls and I'm like, this is surreal.
Yeah, absolutely.
So that was cool. But
No
in terms of my
iPhones
first
then.
concert, no.
Selfies.
So yeah, in terms of first concert, I don't actually remember. But yeah,
Probably the
never been
earliest.
huge music buff, I would say. Like, you know, I know you guys are always at concerts and
We are.
I sort of admire that. But yeah, I feel like I've lacked a little passion there. Yeah.
What about favourite movies, TV shows?
Favorite movies? Love Actually, one of my favorites.
Yes.
I remember loving the Titanic. Like that was always a
Yes.
classic. TV shows, I know this is going to sound crazy, but I really love Survivor. So
Okay,
there's
yeah.
a few shows that I'll just watch. And that is one. I loved America's Next Top Model. I don't know what it was about that, but I remember watching that a lot. I'm normally the person that someone has to tell me 85 times, like, you need to watch this series that, you know, like, I don't know how many times people have told me I have to watch Yellowstone and I've never watched it.
Same.
Never.
Same.
But yeah, like someone will say this is a really good little mini series and I'll finally get around to it. And then once I get into it, I'll be like binging it, you know,
I've got
for
a
the
few
next
for
week.
you. Oh, I've got a few for you.
Please send them to me. What are they?
Bad Sisters. It's an
Never
Apple
heard of it.
TV Plus.
Okay.
That is incredible. Shrinking, which is also
Never
Apple
heard
TV
of it.
Plus. That's Harrison Ford and Jason Segel in that.
Ooh.
Oh, love those.
I think I would
and I
love
started
that.
a little one the other day. It's got Ted Danson in it, and it's called A
Oh.
Man on the Inside. It's on Netflix.
Never heard of
A Man
either
on the
of these.
Inside. It's basically this man that his wife has passed away from she was high care dementia and he takes on this job of going undercover in a nursing home because someone's been stealing jewelry, but it actually turns out to be he's only supposed to be there for a month. I really like it. It's kind of nice.
I think I would love that. That sounds like my alley. Like, I do love the sort of mystery things like that. I'm very bad though. Like, I think I annoy a lot of people because I can watch like 20 minutes of a movie and then be like, okay, like, I'm done now. No, I'm not even kidding. And I struggle to sit through an entire movie. Like, I'll make an excuse to be like, oh, I just need to go to the toilet, or oh, I just need a snack, or oh, my drink's empty.
Oh man,
I don't know what it is. I just like feel like I just need to. Yeah, like, I'll literally sit down for lunch and be like, oh, let me watch 15 minutes of Survivor. And then I'll be like, pause. And yeah, and everyone's like, oh my God, you're just like stopping. And I'm like, yeah, I'm watching another bit tomorrow. Yeah, weird.
That's priceless. Oh, that's so funny.
I know.
I have so moving on to family and friendships, and you know, this is describe your friendships and how valuable they are to you. Just incredible people
I think
you are surrounded by.
As this is a theme on your show,
yes,
the Jodes show, I think that is the one thing I've taken away from yours is how priceless friendships are.
Yeah.
And yeah, as I've heard the stories of all your people, and it's so amazing to me that every one of your guests has a story, you know, and it makes me sort of laugh, not actually laugh, but you know, when your guests will tell you like, oh, I'm boring. And
there's
then
nothing interesting about me.
Yeah, my brother died. My husband turned out to be gay. Like, every person has such a unique story, and it just like everyone has a story. But yeah, the theme of the moral of the story is that every person had such a great network of friends.
Yeah.
And I think that is also true for me. Like, I don't even know how it would have lasted. Well, I mean, obviously I would have survived because I'm a survivor, and you know, as I said, I'm not going to let one person ruin my entire life. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, out of all the 8 billion people in the world, 7 billion, whatever, they're one person. You know what I mean? Like, exactly. Like, yes, times were hard, but you know, I knew I was going to survive it, type thing. Friendships are just like the most valuable, precious thing. Like, I remember speaking to you, and you were just like amazing. David, my uncle, has literally called me every single day.
Oh.
Literally. I'm not even kidding. The second that he went back to Australia, every day. And even if I had nothing to say, he would just like prattle on or something, like just making sure I was like alive, making sure I was okay.
Oh,
Like, yeah, just, and I'm not even kidding. To this day, he wakes up.
beautiful man. What a
He
beautiful
has, yeah,
man.
he has a little system. He wakes up, he has his breakfast, and then he like sits there and calls me. And it's
Oh,
just
shout out to
now.
David.
Shout out to David, because I'm not even kidding. And I'm the worst person in the world of picking up the phone and calling someone. So I have to be so grateful for my friends that just constantly check on me and call and
Keep at you.
it's keep at me, like you included. It's just, yeah, I feel very, very lucky to have
Yeah.
had such a support network, because being in a foreign country
Oh, absolutely.
and everything that you like, your security is like gone,
yeah.
but at least I had the house. Like at least I
Yeah.
was like in my bubble of my bedroom.
Absolutely.
So then to not even have that, I was like, to have like people to visit that said, come stay, live, please
So
build a
awesome.
house next door. Like, you know what I mean?
So awesome.
Yeah, friendships, priceless.
The best, just the best. And your relationship with your family, Amanda, and I guess I have a little bit of inside info in this regard, but your aunties, your cousins, your mum and your brother, they're all really, really key people, even though we're in a different country to you. So that's still,
Yeah,
I
they
think
are.
that's still precious to you.
Oh, 100%. Like my mum is like one of my best friends, you know what I mean? Like we all
Yeah.
know she would give the shirt off her back, and she's just always been there. Like if I'd have said, like I need $1, she would straight away go put it in my bank account, whatever. Like whatever I needed, she would do.
Yeah.
My brother, I mean, love-hate relationship, I'm not going to lie. You know what I mean? Like it's got better as we got older, but like I said, I resented him for a long time because of what he put my mum through.
Yeah.
So I was very much disliked him because of the things he did to mum. Like I was the one that had to see her worrying and not sleeping and thinking he's dead or something because he didn't come home, and then he comes home, what? What's wrong? It was just
Little
at my friend's
tiger he
house.
was.
You know what I mean?
Oh, my
Whereas I'm the
gosh.
one that all night I've been awake with mum, like as she's like calling the hospital, just shit like that. So
yeah.
long story short, that's that. Yes, my cousins, auntie, growing up, we were all really, really close. Yeah, them also.
Yeah. I've loved, and they became a huge part of my life as well.
Yeah.
Back in the day.
Oh,
really, really nice. Yeah. And life's turning points, Amanda. Oh my gosh. There's been so many. Can you share a significant turning point or moment of realization in your life?
Yes. Probably I've had different eras.
Yeah.
Oh,
a little bit Taylor Swift. The eras tour.
I'm pretty sure she followed off my footsteps. Like as I was talking about my eras on my podcast, I'm sure she was like, ooh, the eras tour.
So this is the second time she's been mentioned because a friend of the show, Kimmy, thinks that Taylor has stolen some of her music and songs that she sings. So you're saying she's stolen your idea for eras tour.
Kimmy, I do believe that. She's a bit of a thief like that. Tay-Tay, we know you.
Oh, gosh, we're
just
on to you.
because she's rich and, she thinks she can get away with anything. But
that's so funny.
So my eras were my Australian era. Then I had my living in Washington State era. Yeah. And now I'm on my Southern era. So, I feel like my turning points were moving to the USA, adjusting to life. I feel like I just took to it like a duck to water. I feel fortunate to be Australian because I do see, like, were I to look Mexican, or for example, I feel like it would not be as easy. Like, I'll give you an example. When I was going for my green card, we had to go for an interview and, like I'd read up on everything of what they could ask you, and the questions would be like, what's under your bed? Where do you keep the milk in the fridge? So that if it was not legit and you weren't really living with someone, where's the milk? In the
wow.
door, you know.
Interesting.
So anyway, I was prepared for it to go down a path. And as I went into the interview, she's basically like, "You're Australian. What are you doing here?" Like, you know what I mean? Like I'd come from a country that was the lucky country to America. So it wasn't like, were I Mexican, it would be like, oh, you just want the green card. You know, so I've always felt
interesting.
a little privileged, and I'm always so well received. You know,
Yeah.
like anytime I meet someone, it's like, oh my God, I love your accent. And then it's so easy to talk to everyone and anyone. And, you know, like I feel like my entire life is an adventure. And I'm not even
Yeah.
kidding. Like if I'm going to the coffee shop, that can be such an adventure. You know what I mean? Like
Yes.
the most amazing things or crazy things can happen, or I'll just be involved in a conversation. Like yesterday, it was Friday. What's today? Is today Saturday? Sunday? Oh, bloody
Oh, it's
today's
Sunday
Saturday.
here. Yeah, Sunday for
Okay,
you.
so it might have been 2 days ago, right? So going to this place called Abbeville, and it is the most beautiful little town you've ever seen, and it looks like the 1950s. Like it's all neon signs, and basically this one billionaire guy bought up all these buildings and redid them all to look like the 1950s, and there's little diners, and it's just such a cute, the entire town. And anyway, I'm driving through this town and I see this church on fire. And I'm like, what is happening right now? And so all I can see is the facade, like the front of the church, like think of the perfect like church shape.
Mhm.
That's brick and that's all still standing. And behind it is rubble, there's flames, and all I see is one fire engine with it's like some old school movie with just one thing of water coming out of it. And I can walk right up to this building. I am like standing and the grass is on fire next to me. And I'm just like looking around, and there's these two other people there. And I said, it's blowing my mind that this is on fire. There's one fire engine and there's nothing here to stop me from literally walking into the fire. You know what I mean?
Yes,
and
yes.
they said, yeah, the fire engine is like a volunteers. You know what I mean? And I was like, oh my God, this is a 180-year-old church. So it's devastating for everyone. So anyway, as I'm standing there looking, this girl drives up and I can see her crying, and she gets out she sees me looking at her, and she gets out and she says, like, this is devastating. My kids went to like Sunday school there, and, you know, she had all the stories. Like I played in that thing, you know what I mean? And so anyway, to get back to the point of the conversation, we're just chatting. And then in the end, she said, there's this beautiful graveyard over there. And she goes, I love looking at cemeteries, whatever. I said, so do I. I just went and saw John Benet Ramsey. No, is it John Benet? Yeah, John Benet Ramsey's grave. And then I just went to this other grave that the girl died at 4 years old, and the father built a playhouse over the grave. And I just said, I literally just did this like a couple of days ago. And so anyway, she's like, let me get your number and we'll go. And like, so literally I made a friend.
Yeah.
So my story is every single day, no matter where I am, what I'm doing, it's so easy to like build friendships and talk to people, and, you know.
And it's funny, isn't it? Did you feel like that in Australia?
Not at all.
Yeah.
I mean, I had the same like spirit, and I would chat to people, and yeah, I could talk to a barfly, but
yeah.
I mean, it's just another Aussie, you know. They're not like, where are you from? It's not making more like, how does an Australian end up in this little town of Abbeville?
True.
You know what I mean?
It's a talking point.
It's a talking point. And, you know, like, how long are you visiting for? And I'm like, oh, mate, I'm living here. Like, you know what I mean? And I swear my accent gets more Aussie by the second when I'm like, you know, talking to someone, you know.
So what was it that made you want to move to America? So I know you've been obsessed with anything American.
Obsessed from birth. I don't know. I just always loved America, and it was my dream to live here. And I didn't think I would live, maybe live for a few months. Like I lived in London for 3 years.
Okay.
Coincidentally, I was there exactly when Mandy was. Like when she was talking about this, I was like, damn girl, I didn't even know you were here. Because, like we're at the days of Facebook.
No, I
You'd
know.
be like, holy
You'd
shit,
know
you're
where
just
they
down the
are.
road from me.
For sure.
No,
For sure.
I had to like go to the phone box and buy a calling card and then call and pay like whatever cents a minute and be like, I've got to go. My card's about to run out.
Yeah.
You know,
very different.
It was such a different way of life. And when she was talking about Princess Diana dying, and I was there and I went to Kensington Palace and, put the flowers that day. And I was like, damn, I didn't realize we were there at the same time.
Could have been like 3 people left. You wouldn't know.
Right.
Oh my gosh.
So, yeah.
I've got a couple of other little bits for life's turning points. So we talked about challenges and any obstacles you faced along the way. And you've learnt from all of those things. You've risen above everything that happened with the said person a little while ago. So
yeah.
And also you reflecting on that too. And if you could go back in time now and chat to the person receiving that information on that night before you're about to go away the next day and say, hey, Manda, it's going to be amazing,
Yeah.
Whereas your life just crumbled before you in seconds.
It was very surreal, but I think I always had a good attitude about it. Like I always held my head high and just, you know what I mean? Like I didn't do crazy shit on Facebook or,
better
you know
person.
what I mean? Like other people did. I didn't. I just, maintained, took the high road and.
Because it could have been very easy to thrash out a few posts.
Oh, could have been. And it wasn't worth it. I think
No.
You know what I mean?
No.
It's honestly not worth it. It was not going to change anything. I didn't want it to change anything.
Yeah.
Like, and it was what it was, and I had to make the best of the situation. And I did. I had some great, you know what I mean? I went on a cruise. I went to Arizona.
So much stuff since then.
Yeah.
Like, oh my gosh.
Yeah. Like my life has really blossomed. And
yeah, absolutely.
I probably would say to myself, I read this quote and it said something, and I'm paraphrasing because it wasn't exactly this, and I always massacre these things, but it said something along the lines was, I asked the universe, why did this person leave me? And the universe answered back, they didn't leave you. I just moved them out of your way. And it was something like that. And I was like, damn.
Yeah, very much so.
Since then, I really believe like it did me a favor. She did me a favor. Life did me a favor. Like I never would have left no matter what. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I never would have left. So the fact that my hand was forced, and I mean, I love to road trip. I love to explore. I love to be able to now live my life and do all that rather than be like, wanting to do it and be like, I hate road trips. Or, you know what I mean? So long story short, I think everything happened how it was meant to. It just was a bit of a
curveball.
Shock.
Massive curveball. Yeah.
A bit of a curveball.
Didn't see that coming.
Yes. Didn't see it coming. Didn't even have a clue. Maybe if I had a clue, I would have been a little bit more prepared, but not even a single fight. It was just very boom.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah. Black and white.
Anyway, black and white.
Black and white. My next segment is called Curious Corner, where we ask curious questions about our guests.
Curious.
And I think each time I ask these questions for someone, they think about when they've listened to other people answer and they go, ooh, what would I answer for that? So can you recall a time where you just couldn't stop laughing about something?
Yes, I can. And I was a little bit shocked that when my mum was on here, she did not say this, but she said she didn't even want to go there because it was that bad. She didn't even want to mention it. This is horrific. But I went to a funeral and it actually makes me laugh still thinking about it now. So we're in this funeral and it was very sad because it was my neighbour's husband and he was young. I want to say he was maybe 28 or something, brain aneurysm. And it was very sad because they were living in Kyneton.
Okay.
Kyneton or Kyneton, one of them.
Kyneton, yeah.
Kyneton. And
so what year is this?
Oh, God. It's probably going back like 18 years ago.
Okay.
So he has a sudden brain aneurysm, and they're like 45 minutes or whatever from an ambulance or whatever. So she's having to do CPR this whole time. Like, it was a very tragic situation. I think they had like 3 really young kids. Like, it was a shocking situation. So anyway, we got up to Kyneton for this funeral, and we're sort of like close to the back, like we didn't want to like impose on all the family.
This is you and your mum?
Yes. So we driven up, and he was in the army. So
okay.
The row right behind us is like just a row of people in uniform, and we're right in front. So anyway, the funeral's going on, and I whisper to Mum and I say, it's all about Jesus. Like, they've not even mentioned his name. Like, is the funeral about Jesus? Like, I'm just like, so anyway, the second I said that, I started laughing. And then so she's laughing.
Oh, no.
I'm laughing, and then I can't stop. And so I'm like laughing so hysterically that my mum's like, get outside. You're embarrassing me, right through her teeth, gritted teeth. And I am like literally laughing so hard. I have tears streaming down my face. So I have to leave because she's like, get out. So I'm walking out, and as I'm walking,
oh no,
the row of army people are patting me on the back like, oh, it's going to be okay. Like, thinking I'm hysterically crying because the tears were rolling down my face. My body is heaving. So anyway, I get outside and I just burst out laughing, and I get on the ground and I'm rolling. I like literally remember laying on the grass and rolling hysterically laughing. And then I'm not even kidding. An hour later, Mum comes out and I'm still laughing. She's like, what are you doing?
You're going straight to hell.
I said, I don't know. It's just funny. She's like, what is so funny? I said, I don't know. It's just like, and I said, it's Jesus' funeral. It just made me laugh. So anyway, we get in the car to go to like the after thing or whatever. And I'm like literally in the car, like hysterical. And then so she's laughing because I'm laughing, and I'm just like, oh my God. So anyway, every time I think of that, it still makes me laugh. Horrific. Horrific.
She
straight
had
to hell.
mentioned that maybe Diana and Judy had laughed at a funeral when they were kids.
Yeah, and what Mum didn't say, which I'll gladly say, was that it was their mother's funeral, and they're all standing around the gravesite. Laughing, hysterically laughing, and Mum is like, stop it, like the same thing, like stop it. And the priest is thinking that they're hysterically crying and is like, oh, yeah, I know, she's going to be missed, like, and my mum's like thinking they're not crying, they're laughing at their mother's like body going into the ground.
Because I just don't know.
So it must be genetic. But I also remember laughing, and this is going to be bad to say, but at Shelford, what was her name? Blonde hair. We're in science class, and she fainted, and I am in with, what was that perfectly pointed pencil?
Oh, are you talking about Mrs. Semple?
It's Mrs. Semple. I am laughing as she faints. Fiona something or other. I can't think of her name, but Fiona, tall, blonde bob. And the teacher was just like, get out. Because so honestly, long story short, I think it's a nervous habit that I have to just laugh when someone gets hurt or something, like something crazy happens, and I'm like, got a smirk on my face, like someone's telling me they died or something, and I'm like, yeah. It's so wrong because I honestly am inside like, God, that's tragic.
That's awful, but my face is saying something else.
Yeah, but outside I'm like, God. Yeah, so I think it's a nervous twitch or I'm a retard or something. Something is wrong with me is all I'm going to say.
Oh, my goodness. If you could have any superpower for a day, what would it be?
Oh, my God. You people always give great answers to this. And like you said, I do think about this. And I think when someone said the invisibility thing or to go back in time, and I bloody don't know. I listen to these questions and I think I'm so bloody boring because I don't know.
My cousin said to be able to speak any language.
Yeah, that's probably impressive.
That's very.
I feel like something like that, like to have to be smarter or something.
Doctor.
You know what I mean? To predict the winning like lotto numbers or something.
Oh, Back
I
to the
don't know.
Future.
I feel like I'm really boring when it comes to these.
To be honest, next week someone is interviewing me.
I'm excited for that one. Who's it going to be?
Tim.
Nice.
Yes.
Timbo.
So I have to think about my answers too.
Ooh, I hope he mixes it up a bit, like to throw you off. So you're
Knowing
expecting
him,
this, and
little
it'll be
bit
some
worried.
like, yes, go
Little
Tim,
bit
go
concerned.
hard.
Loose cannon. Oh,
Yes.
My next one is name 5 people you would invite for dinner and why.
Oh, okay. So I was thinking about this. I feel like Rihanna, obviously, it'll be fun to see her.
Yes.
Madonna would really liven it up.
Have
you seen what she looks like lately?
Different.
Not
how I remember her.
No. She looks like she's 20. It doesn't even look like her teeth, everything about her. But she would liven it up. But, I mean, this sounds pathetic, but I feel like you and Juz and just like my friends would be just really cool.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like being so far away, it's those little things that you miss. So, I feel like it would just be things like that would – I mean, I really wouldn't have been Madonna there.
That you don't get to see
crazy.
Often.
Yeah.
Oh, now because you're saying about the music, if you could – well, I think maybe it's a Rihanna song. If you could choose one song to play every time you walked into a room, what would you choose?
Oh, God, it'd be something like, Isn't She Lovely?
I was thinking Umbrella.
I feel like it'd be something that pumped me up, you know what I mean? Like
something that makes you feel good.
Yes, when David and Will had come to visit me like a few years back, they made this Lady Amanda Appreciation Day.
I do remember.
Yeah, so literally they did my hair, makeup, made me breakfast, bought me a cake. It was like it was my birthday on crack, and it was just like I got pampered all day long. And every time I would come down the staircase, David would say, she's a vision. And then he'd say to me, every time you come down, I want you to pause on the top step and say, she's a vision. So anyway, I always did. Every time I'd be walking down the stairs like, she's a vision. So I feel like I would want something to pep me up or something to be like, yeah, you can do it. You've got this. So something like that. So isn't she lovely or something like to empower me, Yeah.
To give you that boost.
Stronger, that, Kelly Clarkson song. Is that Kelly Clarkson?
Yeah.
Anyway, something to pep me up.
Stronger.
Yes.
Oh, now signature dish to cook because
oh God,
I know you've had trouble.
It's going to be tragic
in the US trying to cook Australian things because they don't have the same ingredients.
Yeah, I've nailed the pav.
Perfect.
Signature dessert. Whenever I go somewhere, I'll take the pav because it's a crowd pleaser.
So Australian.
But I will be remiss if I never say my signature dish has become the tortilla.
Oh.
Or tortilla, as they say here.
Tortilla.
Literally.
Mexican.
When I was on my little road trip, everyone would be like, what'd you have for dinner? I'll be like, tortilla. Because I had one skillet, like a fry pan.
Yeah.
And so I would put a tortilla in it and then I'd add some cheese, some ham, flip it over, cook it up, and it was so good. And I've told so many people about it. And that when I got here to this house, I'd been having these every day on my road trip. Sometimes I have it for lunch, sometimes I mix it up and have it for dinner.
Yeah.
And anyway, my friend would say, oh, what are you having for dinner? I said, I think I might have a tortilla. And so then it just became the joke. She's like, let me guess, you can have a tortilla. And, like I said, sometimes I'll have it for lunch and would have a normal dinner or whatever. So anyway, then I got her hooked on it. And then the apprentice became the master and she was adding salami and she'd make hers 3 inches thick. And, mine was always still the little flat one. And, I just cooked it to perfection and it's just like a work of art. So I am now known. And then her mum would come over and, I'd cook her the tortilla. And I'm now famous for this bloody tortilla.
So good.
So that everyone thinks I should open a little tortilla truck, and I can sell them for $5-6 each because
Lady
they're
Amanda's
so easy.
tortillas.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, now my next question, Amanda, and we're a little bit twins in this way. As I've injured myself several times over the years, I'm always so curious about other people's injuries. I had a doozy this week, I have to say.
Please tell us.
Look, it involved a stepladder, a 3-step stepladder, a hedge trimmer, and a camellia, and a concrete path.
No.
So I just...
How did that happen?
Slid to the edge a little bit. The whole ladder came down. I fell on the ladder on the concrete path. The hedge fell on me. Then I actually had a broom behind me. That fell on me as well, but my head landed on like a soft fence where our chickens are. And I sat there and just
thought,
stunned. Have I broken my back? So, yeah, I've got lots of bruises and I was home by myself. So
that sounds horrific.
I think I need supervision. It's still happening. But what's your worst?
Oh, God, I've got so many. So I can remember as a kid we had bunk beds and I would lay there with my feet on the top bunk, pushing it up and down. And one day it fell off and landed on my nose and broke my nose. Then there was the time when it was the first frost. I hadn't really seen, much icy weather in America. We're in our brand new house, first house, and I built this deck out the front. And as Kyla walked out, she goes, "Be careful, it's really icy." And I said, "Yeah, okay." My very first step, whee! And I literally, the legs went out from under me, and I landed on my arm like that, like my wrist bent back, and I was just like, I think I broke my wrist. I didn't, just severely sprained it, but there was that. And she's like, "I literally just told you," and I was like, "Yeah, I know." Then there was a time I was building the back deck, and I'd sort of laid boards over, like the ones that I hadn't screwed down yet. And I just bought a brand new drill, a DeWalt one, like the top of the line, like, it was lashed out. And in my other hand, I had a bucket of screws. So I had the brand new thing and I just built a little pool. It was like a little out of a horse trough almost thing, 6 foot. And I just filled it with water. So anyway, I'm going to walk across and I stand on the end of the board. The board flings up, smacks me in the head like a cartoon. I fall down, a wedge into the decking boards, between them. The brand new drill with the huge brand new battery on it falls into the pool. The screws go flying, and I'm sitting there with stars spinning around my head because I literally just got clonked on the head. And in this thing, home by myself, same thing, what happened? I didn't even know what had broken or what had happened. But yeah, pretty much my life is like yours. And if something crazy can happen, it will happen. And everyone will be like, "That didn't even think that was possible." And I'm like,
no,
proved it. Yeah, I don't know what's wrong with us.
I think we'll call it a skill, really.
Yeah, but I do just want to bring up your skill and mention this fact because I don't want your listeners to not hear this. So Jody is standing in our kitchen on roller skates.
How old were we then?
What? Well, 5, 6, 7?
8.
We were in primary school. I want to say maybe grade 4 or something. So and my mum and she's holding a glass of milk. And my mum says to her, "Jody, sit down. You're going to spill the milk." And she's like, "No, I'm good." And next second,
I'm a pro.
One of the skates goes out from under her. Her legs go this way, her arms go this way, and the milk goes everywhere.
It was such a key moment because, I always think I know better, that it's not going to happen. And I can't tell you how many times that has happened. Not that particularly.
And what I loved is that my mum treated you like a kid. So if I got yelled at, you got yelled at. She didn't hold back. Normally the guest is the one that escapes it.
Absolutely.
She just would yell at you like she would yell at us.
I was the third child, that's for sure.
The third child, yes. So,
Definitely.
that milk went everywhere. But that was probably the start of it that I remember of you, of the crazy
so many.
stuff.
There's so many. Oh, my goodness. But it's so good to have friends in this space that understand.
Oh, well, I just had another thought of primary school. I think I was in grade 5 and I was walking across that amphitheatre. Now, literally, just walking across,
Yes.
tripped over, probably my own feet, and I scraped one knee, and in the other knee, a rock wedged into it.
Yes.
So anyway, I go to the doctor, and the doctor's like, "Ooh, like you may need a skin graft. Like I don't think I can close that because I had the rock like embedded in my leg."
It was so
and
bad.
I didn't even notice that because all I felt was the scrape on the other knee. So anyway, he managed to stitch it together. And I've actually got a really big, like, thick scar because it was like wide. The rock.
It was quite a hole.
It was literally a hole. So he had to like try and drag my skin across.
With the gas meter, and they put a cage around it after that incident.
I have no idea. I just remember
Against
tripping
the
over,
building.
and
I remember
it was just the most ridiculous.
You know
what I mean? Like I walked that path 80 times and then boom. So yeah,
I hear you.
Yeah,
that's
preach,
right.
Girl.
Absolutely. Ooh. I think I know the answer to this one. If you could do things differently, what career would you choose, Doctor?
Yes, I would say doctor.
Yeah.
But like I said, I've had such amazing opportunities, like living in London.
Yeah.
Never would have seen myself working as a nanny.
Yeah.
But it worked so well because I had a little nanny flat, my own like apartment, like, my own entrance, like could have family and friends visit. So yeah, everything I guess has worked out amazingly. So yes, if I could do it differently, I'd be a doctor, but maybe my life I've never had the adventures I would have now.
Ooh. And I reckon I know your answer to this next one. So potentially, if you were in a relationship and you were able to have a hall pass with someone that you are highly unlikely to meet. Oh, see, didn't even finish my sentence. Rihanna. Dead set.
Yeah.
I knew it.
Yes. Good old Riri.
She's still there around, isn't she?
She does.
How old is she now, Rihanna?
Oh, my God. I know she has a couple of kids.
Does she?
I don't even know. Do we even know what the kids are called? I do remember trying to figure it out, and she wasn't releasing the name, and I actually don't know now.
Yeah. Rihanna, I thought so.
Old Ray.
Ooh, legacy and reflections, Manda. What are you most proud of in your life?
That is a really good question. I didn't really think about these when I was listening to your things. I'm proud that I'll always land on my feet. Yeah. Like I've never, you know how some people are like constantly worried about money or constantly like about their job or whatever. Like I'm not. Yeah. I feel like no matter what life throws or was to throw at me, I would land on my feet. And yeah, I guess I'm proud that I just have that belief in myself. And like I believe whatever, if I want to do something, I'll do it. You know what I mean? Like if I want to build something and I have no idea how to do it, if I want it, I'll do it. And I have a tattoo on my arm that says, if you don't get what you want it bad enough. Yes, and I truly believe that. So if I don't have what I want or don't know how to get it, then I really didn't want it bad enough because I know me, I'll research it. Like I love reading manuals. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like I will research and figure it out. So yeah, I guess I'm proud of that.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Does that make sense?
Is there anything you regret?
Probably just not doing medicine. Mm-hmm. But then I don't know. I don't think it is a regret. I don't. Mm-hmm. There's tiny little things that I'm like, oh, that was a bad call or whatever. But all in all, I feel like even at the time you think it's bad. Yeah. There's always like a learning curve or it's an experience, you know what I mean? Like oh God, I've got some stories of things that I regret, like bringing my brother's belt from Australia.
That's a pearler.
And getting arrested and, spending the night in jail.
That was
yes, when I just landed in America.
That was really challenging.
That was not fun, but yes, I regret that. But you know what I mean? Like it was what it was. So and it was an experience and it's a story and
that's Adrian's
like
fault,
I live to tell I live to tell the tale from these things. So yeah, I don't think like I said, I have like little tiny regrets, like, oh my God, I shouldn't have done that. But all in all, in the end, it's made me what I am. So yeah, no regrets.
Absolutely. And then your I guess your media presence with TikTok, with your podcast firstly, and TikTok, and then on a TV news show
There
because
is that,
someone saw you
yeah.
on TikTok.
Right. So it does get a little bit awkward because I'm in a smaller town. I think it's about 70,000 people
Okay.
here. So every now and then, like yesterday, I went to pick a shower door and, we're chatting to the girl and they've got this cat in the like shower shop. I don't know what even it's called. It's like it's
cool.
called B&W Closets. So anyway, I'd seen the cat. This was my second time in there, and the last time I'd gone in, I'd taken a little video and I'd put it on TikTok.
Yeah.
And anyway, so I'm having this chat with this girl there, and she's so lovely. And as I'm leaving, she says, "You should go to the Whoville. There's like some Whoville I don't know what you call it, like a little fair type thing tomorrow in Enterprise. That could make a good TikTok." And I sort of thought, okay, like wasn't connecting the dots or something. And then she said something again, like, "Yeah, follow you on TikTok." And I was like, "Oh, how did you know?" or whatever. And she said, "Well, the last time you came in, I had to rush out because my daughter was in the band or something, And she said, I got to the school and I said, oh, I had to leave. There's this really cool Australian girl in there that I was talking to and I felt bad leaving. And then the other girl's like, is she the one on TikTok? And then she's like, what one? And so then she shows her and then she goes, and then you made Gizmo famous, the cat. And I was like, oh, yeah. It's so awkward. And then there was this other one. I was in a bakery and I was chatting to the girls in the bakery and I'd done a TikTok with them because they'd just opened their business. And I said,
cool.
like, let's do a TikTok.
Yeah.
So anyway, as I'm like back in there, it's like in where I'm moving to, it's like, this little smaller town. And so I was just sitting there, not sitting there, I was just standing there like I'd bought a sandwich and they'd make these little gluten-free cupcakes that are delicious. So I got one of them. And anyway, I was just processing the transaction and then this girl came in maybe 50 and then she had her aunt maybe like 70s. And then I just hear the girl, oh, my God, are you that girl from TikTok? And I was like, oh, dear God. And
yes, I am.
Like rat shit, you know what I mean? Like tracky dacks and rolled out of bed and was like heading to the house, and I was just like, let me just get a little snacky snack on the way. And then she's like, can we take a photo together? And I was like, no. And anyway, then she's telling the aunt, oh, my God, I follow this girl on TikTok. And I said, oh, where are you from? And she's like, I'm from Florida. I just like always watch you. And then, then I went to this like fair thing and then like a few people came up to me and I was like, oh, my God, I have to. Oh,
that is
now
so
maybe.
funny.
And I don't think twice about it. So I leave the house looking like shit. You know what I mean? I'm just running to the store or something and no one's going to, who am I going to see? And guaranteed they'll be the time.
Oh, my
and I'll
fans.
be like, can we get a photo together? And I'll be like, oh, no.
Oh, God. So famous.
Yeah, it's been interesting, but I have met a lot of cool people.
Yeah, sweet.
Like from TikTok. So curious though, I don't know. I kept seeing this thing how America's going to ban TikTok January 19th.
Oh.
So a lot of people have been asking me like, what are you going to do? And I don't even care. Like, it's like, if it's going to be, it's going to be. It's like, you know what I mean?
Why is that? What is that?
Because China owns it. They have given TikTok the ultimatum to sell it to an American entity.
Oh, okay.
Or it'll be banned. But I don't know. It's apparently going to the courts or something. But
oh well, I thought
it'll be what it'll be. It's not. I always hated TikTok, so it was. You know what I mean? It just
change of presidency.
Yes.
Don't even.
Yes, don't even.
Oh my gosh, Amanda, I cannot wait to upload this bad boy. Thank you so much for chatting to me today. I feel like I've like
killed your time and it's like dragged out forever. So I apologise to everyone. Feel free to stop halfway. Yeah. Cut it off. Make it part one and part two. Oh.
Do you know what? Even if it's like an hour, people listen in portions anyway.
That's me. I do. Like if I'm driving, I'll listen and then, keep going.
And I do feel sorry for the people I work with, because sometimes every time they get into their car, they hear my voice. They've heard it all day and they hear my voice again because it like kicks off another episode. So I'm all around. So yes, I'll have to return the favor.
Guaranteed.
G'day from the USA.
I am thinking same time next week for you.
Yes. Maybe.
No, maybe. Locking you down. You need to give me
schedule.
some times for this week.
Yes, I will.
Yes.
For sure.
Locking you down.
For sure. All right.
Okay.
Thank you, my dear, dear friend.
Love you so much. And yes, you're probably the longest friend I've ever had.
Oh,
literally.
Good.
I mean, besides neighbours that I'm still friends with, you are literally my longest and oldest friend.
Yes. Well, yes, I'm 6
literally,
months older.
Figuratively.
Oldest.
Yes. Yes.
So
good. Yes.
All right, my dear. Thank you so much.
My pleasure.
See ya.
Thanks for having me.
Bye. Firstly, thank you to Lady Amanda for joining us today. Working out our time zones and recording remotely all worked out perfectly in the end. I love how she grabs every opportunity, no matter where she is. She is so grateful for everything she has in her life, most importantly, her people. She continues to produce her podcast, Gday from the USA, and also creating fun and informative TikTok videos. I'm sure you laughed along with me at her engaging and hilarious stories she shares with us. As we always give a shout out to our guest's hall pass, let's give a shout out to Amanda's hall pass, Miss Rihanna. Tune in to our next episode where we get to hear more lives worth telling. Don't forget to check out and follow us on your socials. And if you love what you hear, please rate and review us on your favourite podcast app. Of course, if you have any questions, you can get in touch with us through the Facebook page or Instagram. If you or a friend or a family member would like to come on the show, please don't hesitate to get in contact with us. And if you want to grab yourself some merch, jump onto Redbubble to check out our products. Thanks for listening to Lives Worth Telling. See you next time.